You walk into a room and forget why you came in. A name you've known for years vanishes right when you need it, and a small, cold thought arrives. Is this how it begins? One forgotten name doesn't tell you what's happening, but a capable mind can feel much less sharp when attention is scattered, the days repeat themselves, and memory is rarely asked to work. So here are 8 Chinese wellness habits for a sharper mind after 50, built on Sheng, tending the mind through how it's used, coordinated, asked to retrieve, connected to other people, and rested. One important note: these support an active mind, but they aren't treatment and can't guarantee anything, and decline is never a personal failure. If you or those close to you notice real, ongoing changes, please see a doctor. Some causes are treatable. Pick one thing you can't already do, and give it 5 to 10 minutes, 3 times a week. A few phrases in a new language, a simple pattern on an instrument, one beginner technique in a craft, a strategy game with real decisions in it. Keep the bar deliberately low. 5 minutes you'll actually repeat beats an hour you abandon by Friday, and the completion cue is small enough to hit today. You attempted one part you couldn't already perform automatically. Fumbling counts. Getting it wrong counts. A first session might be 5 phrases said out loud badly, or one chord shape your fingers simply refuse to hold. That is a complete session, and you are not behind. What separates this from everything else in the video is the beginner state itself. Something familiar can run on well-worn tracks. Something new can't. Attention stays up, corrections are constant, nothing is automatic, and the mind is building as it goes. So if it feels awkward, you're in the right place. And if it ever stops feeling awkward, that's your signal to make it harder or move on to something else. You reach the bottom of a page and realize none of it went in. Your eyes moved. Your attention didn't stay. Most of us file that under memory. Often it's attention, and attention can be rebuilt deliberately, in a dose you'll actually keep. 12 uninterrupted minutes, once a day, on one thing that asks something of you. A chapter, a section of a long article, a puzzle, a complex task, a real piece of work. Phone physically out of reach. Another room, a drawer, not face down beside you. One task only. 12 minutes, and then stop if you want to. The completion cue is exact. One mental thread followed for 12 minutes without voluntarily switching. Not 12 flawless minutes. Your mind will wander and you'll bring it back, and the bringing back is the exercise. And if you get 4 minutes in and reach for the phone without deciding to, that's worth noticing rather than scolding yourself over. Put it back out of reach and start the clock again. If 12 feels easy after a week, make it 18. If it feels impossible, start at 6. The number matters far less than the not switching, which is the thing you're actually practicing. Stand, shift your weight onto one foot, raise both hands slowly to chest height, turn gently, and lower them. That fragment is the kind of movement Tai Chi and Qigong are built from, and it asks 4 things at once. Remember the order, coordinate both sides of the body, shift weight deliberately, and stay attentive the whole way through. That combination is what separates it from a walk. Walking is good for you, it just doesn't ask you to recall a sequence while keeping your balance. The minimum version: learn 3 safe movements and repeat them from memory a few times a week. Learn them by heart rather than following along on a screen. The remembering is the part that gives the mind something to do, and you'll feel the difference immediately. Copying along feels smooth, and recalling it yourself feels like work. If balance is any concern at all, do this seated, or standing with a hand resting on a stable chair or counter. You lose nothing that matters here. And for anything beyond simple movements, learn from a proper instructor rather than a video. Balance work is worth doing properly. Cooking something from a recipe, gardening, or a small repair, knitting, painting, an instrument, calligraphy, which sits in this tradition in Chinese culture, where the doing was valued as much as the result. What these share isn't craft for its own sake. It's a mental sequence your hands walk you through. Plan the steps, attempt one, Notice where it went wrong, adjust, and carry it through to something finished. You misjudge the heat, and the sauce catches, and you notice, lower it, and save it. That small loop, plan, attempt, notice, adjust, repeats dozens of times in an ordinary afternoon of making something. Judgment, sequencing, correction, and fine movement, none of which feels like effort, because your hands are leading. The minimum, finish one small piece of a hand-based task each week. Not the whole cabinet, the whole garden, the whole sweater, one drawer sanded, one row knitted, one dish made properly from start to finish. Something you can look at afterward and see, plainly, that it's done. Here's what's easy to miss. You can challenge your mind every day and still feel foggy. If your attention is interrupted all day, your memory is never asked to retrieve anything, your conversations no longer stretch you, and your mind never gets any real quiet. The first 4 habits are about using the mind. The next 4 are about the conditions it works in. In Yang Sheng, both matter. A mind is tended through balanced use and recovery, not constant stimulation. Try this now, before I explain it. Without looking anything up, what did you eat for dinner the night before last? Give it a full 10 seconds before you decide you don't know. That pause is the entire habit. All day we hand recall over the instant it's needed. A name, a date, a word on the tip of the tongue. The rule here is only this. Try briefly, then check. Pause 10 seconds for a familiar name before looking it up. Recall 3 items on the shopping list, then read the list. Summarize what you just read before rereading it. Recall yesterday's main appointments before opening the calendar. Describe the plot of something you watched last week before you look it up. None of these take extra time out of your day. They only take a beat before you reach. Then check. Checking isn't the problem. Checking without trying is what removes the practice. And failing is entirely fine. The reaching is the exercise, not the finding. Today's completion cue is easy. You tried to recall 3 things before checking any of them. An objection worth taking seriously. My life doesn't have much conversation in it. For plenty of people past 50, that's simply true. Hearing, mobility, caregiving, distance, bereavement, a circle that's quietly shrunk. So this one is written to be possible from wherever you actually are. What gives the mind work isn't company as such. It's being asked something you have to think about, or explaining something to someone who doesn't know it. Small talk isn't the enemy. It's often the doorway. But the value is in the stretch. The minimum, 1 conversation a week containing a question that can't be answered with yes or no. Ask a relative what their first job was really like. Ask a friend why they changed their mind about something. Explain something you understand well to someone who doesn't. Explaining is quietly the strongest of these, because to make a thing clear to another person, you have to find the order of it yourself, which is more work than simply knowing it. A phone call counts. A voice message counts. So does an online group built around books, history, or a game, or a recurring activity nearby. Anything where another mind meets yours, and you have to reach for an answer. When did your mind last get 15 minutes with nothing coming into it? Not relaxation, no input. Protect one 15-minute window a day, with no phone, no television, no news, no podcast, and no second task running alongside. Sit with tea, walk somewhere safe, look out of a window, do something quiet and ordinary. The first few minutes often feel restless. That's usual, and it passes. Nothing has to happen in the window. That's rather the point of it. That's the whole habit. One window, once a day. Sleep matters here too, and matters a great deal, but that's a larger subject than this. The completion cue is exact, and slightly strange to aim at. 15 minutes passed without adding new information to your mind. Because a mind that's never quiet isn't being kept active. It's being kept busy, and busy and sharp are not the same thing. Once a week, write down 1 question you actually want the answer to. Not a useful question, an interesting one. Why was that building on the corner put up? How does a clarinet make it sound? What happened to that historical figure after the event everyone remembers? Which bird keeps coming back to the garden? Then spend 15 minutes following it. A book, a search, a call to someone who'd know. Find 1 new detail, Write one sentence about what you learned and decide one thing. Is this worth another 15 minutes next week? Or is the question closed? Question: 15 minutes, one detail, one sentence, one decision. That's the ritual. Some questions close in a single sitting, others open into something you're still following months later, and either outcome is a success. And it's deliberately not the first habit. Learning an instrument is about building an ability, slowly, with effort and repetition. This asks nothing of you but interest. No mastery, no practice schedule, no getting good at anything. You follow the thing, you learn something, you stop. It also leaves a record. After 2 months, you have 8 questions and 8 sentences. Small, concrete evidence that your mind has been out looking at the world. So, become a beginner at something. Hold one thread for 12 minutes, learn 3 movements by heart, finish one thing with your hands, try to recall before you check, ask one question that can't be answered with a yes, keep one quiet window, and follow one curiosity a week. Don't try all 8. Pick the one you genuinely enjoy this week, and do only that. Tell me in the comments, what's one question you've always wanted to look into? A forgotten name isn't the whole story of your mind. What matters more is whether tomorrow gives it something worth noticing, remembering, making, and asking. Next time, the Chinese habits for a mind that won't stop working long enough to rest